So durability, I think we just wanted to mention, you've been hearing us talk about that placing Ecoroof on a membrane is going to increase the lifespan of this roof membrane and, virtually free from exposure potentially for up to 40 years or more. But the critical question or critical statement about that is that's where it's covered. And there are often places where membranes are exposed. And those areas will still feel the effects of UV, people, equipment, all that stuff. And so an example here is where a membrane was installed and then an Ecoroof placed on top of that. Well, where the Ecoroof is covering the roof membrane, the durability is going to do very well. But where there's areas that were left to walk along this edge will just age like a typical roof will. So it's just something to consider. Yeah?
Better if there were a layer of gravel over for the walkway?
Yeah, definitely. Assuming that, you really don't have too much traffic, I think, in that location. Yeah.
One of the selling points that the tray companies use is the ease of putting the tray on top of the system that's already been in. But then you have this issue of then, do you add gravel? Some of them have special pads that they're producing to fill in those gaps.
Right, pavers or something.
Paver type material that helps protect it and things like that. So it's still, though, is that material as good as the Ecoroof? Is there going to be a differential between the two? And if there is a differential, then that's where you're likely to have a problem.
Right. Or maybe there's more. Anyway. Never mind. Yeah. So then also on the same, I'm sorry, you had a question, yeah.
So if you got a roof with a parapet wall, and obviously you know that parapet wall is going to be all of the same material that's on the roof. Mm-hmm. Is there something out there to deal with that? Is there something to pay for it or something?
Well, I would just say that within the existing requirements, bring that flashing down as far as you can in order to cover that parapet. Or that membrane that's coming up alongside that wall. Don't just come down. If you have a 4-foot parapet and you come down, 3 inches or whatever's required or the minimum, then you're going to leave all that exposed. So I would say at least bring it down as far as you can. Right.
On this one, no matter how you look at it, this is the TPO on the parapet. It's the TPO membrane that's on the bottom. It's on the parapet. So there isn't a place there where it's got that. For instance, sometimes sheet metal is used over the top, and that has perhaps a longer life than the TPO. It's hard to say, but this will always be sort of a vulnerable point, even though it has the Ecoroof. So that would be something you'd want to inspect and keep an eye on.
Well, have you ever looked at vertical trellising with plants or anything for some situation like that?
No, that sounds good.
Yeah, sure. There's lots of ideas that are out there.
I like it.
And you can put typical siding on that. You can put hardy board or,
Right.
Sheet metal or
sheet metal, yeah.
Yeah, because as you are marketing or describing this to a client or what have you, one of the selling points is going to be, well, the durability of this thing is going to extend, the lifespan of your membrane. And then, the details come out, the project gets constructed, and they understand out there going, well, geez, what about that spot right there? Or what about this wall or something? And so, not just the Ecoroof, but all the details. If you're going to promote longevity, I think it's important to really look at those specifics of all of the roof. And then just on, that's great. Austin Powers there looking.
Yeah, let me can I talk about this one?
Sure. Yeah.
So this is an existing industrial roof. It's about 6,500 square feet. It's in St. John's, and the property owner of this roof was very interested in Ecoroofs. He had been to Sweden and some other places, seen the Ecoroof test sites they had there, and he owns a number of buildings, and we were talking one time about different things we'd like to explore in terms of the city's program, and one of those was, what if you have a good membrane? And the discussion about, well, you wouldn't want to take a good membrane off and put a new one on or cover it up and then put an Ecoroof on. So why couldn't you put an Ecoroof on top of an existing good membrane?
And this is what, a 10-year-old membrane? Maybe less?
Yes, this is 10 years old.
Yeah.
Right. So it's already at or exceeded its guarantee. And the the question about guarantees and warranties, it's all in the detail, and that's something we'll talk about later. But there, you know how anyway, you know that legal wording within any kind of document like that. So back to this. So this particular property owner said, okay, I will look into it. So he did his own structural analysis first. He had somebody take a look, and they said, yeah, it looks like it could go. But the structural engineer then did detailed calculations and said, okay, here's your maximum weight, and here's, I don't know if they had to do something in terms of a structural upgrade. I don't think they did, but he might have. Anyway, so then he put a drainage layer, this fabric kind of stuff like this. First he put a root barrier down because it is a modified bitumen product. Then he put this drainage layer on top of the root barrier.
You can see it right here.
Right, that's the drainage layer before it's being laid out. Or maybe that might be
There's
the
some in
root
the
barrier.
background.
He's got root barrier and this drainage layer.
Right.
And then he put 3 inches of soil on top of that, and he's got his Ecoroof. So this was done in 2005, and so it's on its 3rd year. So the possibility of looking at using an existing membrane is a potential. And so we're keeping an eye on this.